Okay. This is one of the original Warhammer 1 even multiplayer maps. It has, you know, a little bit of terrain, a little bit of forest, a little bit of flowing hills, pretty similar terrain on both sides, and feature that's, you know, not often coming into play but can be relevant is these farms over here. Can be used to block certain things. Although sometimes projectiles go straight through them. Like you think you're safe and then you still get hit by an arrow that just passes through the house. It's not completely reliable. And then on the other side we have this rock, which is an interesting piece of terrain to set up something like a hell cannon behind. Won't be any hell cannons in this battle though, unless the Bretonnians suddenly converted to chaos. Alright, let's look. It's a Bretonnian 20 stack with Luen Leon Kerr in the air on Biki, with the Shield of Quran, the Sword of Quran, Stand Your Ground, Foe Seeker, Beloved Son of Bretonnia, and of course his Encourage ability, which every lord has. We have the one Treb, which is something I like, and we'll see how that comes into play once the battle is underway. So we have the Flock of Doom and the Manticore summon, and also the Scroll of Shielding on the Damsel of Beasts. There's a front line of peasant mobs. I see 4 in total. There's 4 archers, 2 of them have box arrows. There's 5 men-at-arms with shields. And for the cavalry, of course, the big damage dealers, apart from Luen. We have Knights Errant, 2 of them, actually 3 of them, and then the 2 more elite questing knights, one of them the companions of Canel. For the greenskins, we actually have a much smaller army. They're outnumbered 2 to 1, which is kind of, rare for greenskins. But you can see why. They have more elite units. Front line of Black Orcs, 3 of them. Mogrup's Mangy Marauders. Forest Goblin Spider Riders. And Unbreakable 8-peak loonies. Spinning loons. 1 unit of goblins only. Skarsnik on foot with a giant river troll hag. Yuna and Spirit Leech. Even Assault of Stone. Interesting. And of course Mire for dropping speed and charge speed on people. And the biggest piece of the army, I would say, the Ragnarok Queen. True hero, I would say. Okay, so Skarsnik, of course, has his fermented fungi that could be used to lock down Luen, but it's on the beta, so this is a nerfed version. Doomdivers are firing away. Spider Riders are in the back here. Now this army, I believe I saw Slade playing a game against Lotus Moon on ladder with exactly this army. And winning. A pretty tough battle, but winning nevertheless. The Doomdivers have done good damage on these men-at-arms with shields already. They're not the most valuable target here. They're kind of useless even against the Black Orcs, but anything you can get rid of early on is going to be an advantage to you later on. First volley of the Mangy Marauders going into the peasant mob, going to miss as well. This may be one of those cases where a unit shoots even though you're not asking it to shoot. That does happen from time to time. If not though, you should definitely take these guys off auto fire, because shooting those precious armor piercing arrows into the peasant mobs is just going to waste their ammo. So Prince keeping his cavalry back for now while approaching with his infantry. I hope he's not forgetting his cavalry, because I've known that to happen to him twice. So in the majority of his games it doesn't happen, but I think he is keeping them back for now. Are we starting to move them? Okay. Because there is a chance here that he may be able to force this position. And so far... I would say that the Doomdiver has done more than the Trap, but oh, here come the Knights Errant, and good reaction from Slade, pulling back those Goblin Spider Riders, but these Knights Errant are already charging, so the Spider Riders might still get caught here. Ooh, it looks like they might Where is the charge falling short? This is actually big. Looks like spell is coming in. Oh, that's the Assault of Stone. Prince sees it. It has a pretty long charging time, and he's going to move his units out of the way. And the Spider Riders, who are almost routing, they're like, well, if we're gonna die, we might as well take some Peasant Bowmen with us. So they're gonna rout 2 of the Peasant Bowmen, kill quite a few of them. And it looks like Slade is trying to pull his Spider Riders through, sending his Black Orcs forward to try and save them. This may be one of those cases where, like, one engagement leads to the next, as people keep pouring more into it. The Buna on the Knight's Errant, and the Spirit Leech, so that's quite expensive, but I guess we want to get rid of those guys as well. But the Companions of Canel are going to be pretty happy about that. Remember, there's no healing in this army. So if Buna and Spirit Leech had come down onto the Companions of Canel, it would not have been, you know, something Lifecaster could have just gotten rid of. So here the Mogrop's Mangy Marauders, it looks like they're getting charged, but once again, good reactions from Slade. I don't think that was a skirmish mode, or maybe it was, but yeah, they're not getting caught. It looks like, of course, the Black Orcs and the Spider Queen are winning the front line right now. I haven't seen a Manticore being summoned just yet. That could help shore up this front line. But the Knights Errant are coming in. They're going for the Doomdiver Catapults. They'll be confronted by the Forest Goblin Spider Riders, but those won't be enough to keep the Doomdivers online indefinitely. Very much a support unit, actually. Oh, now the War comes in, and of course, as you would expect, Greenskins are winning the front line. But that's kind of what the battle is supposed to look like at the start. Now it looks like the Questing Knights and the Men-at-Arms have broken through and will be able to get this Doomdiver offline. Orc Archers, they've also been taken care of. Bretonnian Peasant Lines are on the run. The important units are still standing. The Companions of Canel are receiving a Spirit Leech. They're pulling back now. And is coming down onto these Spider Hatchlings. Probably going to rout them. And this giant troll river hag is going after Luen, but she wants to smack him with that bag of fish she has with him, but she thinks better of it. She's gonna hobble out of there and probably rejoin with Skarsnik and the Spider. Black Orcs, yeah, so far still looking strong. This one is taking a lot of damage, but it still has most of his models. This one is at 50% HP, this one is at 3/4 HP. And Luen is going for the Troll Hag, but I believe the Spider Summon is coming in. Oh, that's a Manticore Summon. Okay, so he's going hard for this River Troll Hag now, and she's going to be terrified here. Just a second, I think. Don't know why she was exposed like this. It would have been a lot safer if she remained with the Arachnor Queen, but I guess she wanted to go throw down a spell or something and got caught out of position a little bit. Yeah, right now it looks like, despite losing the front line, as you would expect, Bretonnians are getting the better of this battle. Field Trebuchets are still firing away at the Black Orcs. It's just massive value, because most of those kills are on Black Orcs. The Doomdiver Catapult is not coming back. Skarsnik is on his own fighting the Companions of Canel, using Fermented Fungi there. Which is decent, of course, to drop that melee attack, but there could be more effective uses for that if the battle had gone differently. And yeah, now 2 of the Black Orcs are routing, and the Greenskins are kind of all over the place. Of course, Balance of Power right now a little bit inflated by this Manticore that's still on the field, but if I'm not mistaken, that was the first Manticore. Another Manticore is still going to come, but oh, Luen, yes, Mangy Marauders on him. They should be fast enough to keep Luen on the ground if Slade micros this correctly. So what you want to do in this situation is keep pathing in front of Luen. Don't give attack orders on him, because then they will just hit him, like the front row will hit him, and then they will stop. You keep pathing in front of him aggressively, then you can stay on him and eventually sort of surround him. But of course, if the Spider doesn't stay on him, then the Mangy Marauders will just get killed by Luen. So right now they should probably disengage, because the Spider is rejoining with Skarsnik, as it probably should. Try to save Skarsnik from this. And yeah, Luen He's now going to turn around. A Wa does come in, and I guess he will take a little bit of damage from these mangy marauders, but honestly, that's a fight he can easily take. Some of the... Oh! Some of the spider riders actually took down the trap. Okay, that was pretty big, because if that trap keeps firing, it means a lot of black orcs, which are really difficult to kill for anything that isn't cavalry. You see the questing knights, they're pretty low. Still some knights errant, there's still some questing knights here, but yeah, the armor piercing that Prussian Prince has available is kind of getting killed, and if he doesn't have armor piercing options, then the spider is going to be pretty tough to crack.
A vampire Buddha.
Malverdi, thanks for the follow. Good to see you, man. So the Arachnor Queen doing what the Arachnor Queen does, which is eating knights and anything large. Just chomping away. Together with Skarsnik and Gobla here, it's going to be quite... Hey, have they reskinned these guys? I don't remember them being this green. But then again, I don't often... Look, they're just pushing that guy. I don't often zoom in on models like that. I like to keep a top-down overview when I'm playing. So yeah, there's still a Black Orc on the field. There's still Skarsnik and the Arachnor Queen. But we still have Luen as well. And right now, Skarsnik could be getting killed here. Yep, 2 big hits. Fermented fungi come in, but it seems they're not causing a rampage. Nope. Because Luen's health is full, and it looks like Skarsnik will be finished off here. And now the armor dropped, and the archer fire coming in. That looks like it may decide the game here. It's quite a slugfest. In the end, Luen is still full health, and that's kind of, you know, the Bretonnian way of playing the game, I think. You sacrifice all your peasants, you get the most out of your cavalry, and then you send in Luen, and as long as Luen stays alive... I mean, obviously you don't wait to send in Luen, but like, your stages of victory are basically infantry, cavalry, and at the end Luen killing everything that's left. Yeah, Slate, I think this is a pretty good build, like how you should play it almost. But if your army is this small, it's easier to get outmaneuvered. Okay, here we are at excavation site, map with the big excavation site in the middle. It's of course impassable terrain, useful for flying units to hide over. And we have for HDS the 3 armored Chaos Trolls. We also have 2 Marauder Horsemen and 2 Horse Masters, making up the skirmish contingent. We have a unit I really like, which is the Chosen Halberds. Beefy guys can take on pretty much every unit in the Norscan roster, so long as they don't get wrecked by like side charges from Mammoths and Pendulums and boats and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure HDS will be aware of that. And we have something Aerocrastic would, someone Aerocrastic would definitely approve of. It's Sigvald the Magnificent. Very interesting. Definitely a champion worth hunting for Wulfric. Then we have a Chaos Sorcerer of Death, also with the Puna and the Spirit Leech, like in the previous battle. Except there it was the Troll Hag and the Aspiring Champions. I think they're usually a worthwhile pick to just, you know, have one of them. We have some Marauders as well. Deployed up front. Going to be shielding these Chaos Trolls. Now we have 4 Horse Masters as well. No, actually the same skirmish contingent. That's interesting. So totally equal skirmish forces on both sides, which means it's going to come down to micro. But the way El Halkin is deploying, with his front line of Berserkers, flanks of Marauders, and the Feral Mammoth and Trog. And is this a Feral Mammoth? Yes, 2 Feral Mammoths and Trog. It doesn't look like he's going to take much time skirmishing. He's just going straight for it, as Norska does. Hi there, Stanton. Ymir Balefiend of Shadows. I believe he has the Pendulum and the Enfeebling Foe. Yes, also Scroll of Protection. and Arcane Conduit. And the Beasts of Tashnar are deployed right in the middle of these guys. This could go very well or very badly. Like, if they take a volley from all sides, they could be routed pretty quickly. But if they catch one of these guys and get them to like half health instantly, Norska could have skirmish advantage instantly. Yeah, they do get microed instantly. Trade onto the weaker horsemen. HDS with the good reactions, pulling back his men. And really, even though both armies, especially the Norscan army, are very aggressive armies, I think the players could definitely take their time to try and get a bit of an advantage with their skirmish. Especially Norska could be favored in doing that, because you don't just want to let their skirmishers shoot yours, but Norska, Chaos, is going to rely more on their skirmishers to take down these feral mammoths than Norska is going to rely on their skirmishers to take out trolls, I think. Trolls, of course, regenerate. The first Chaos Troll is coming in for a charge here. Onto the Marauders, sending some of them flying. These are, of course, Marauder Berserkers. They are very strong. See, they're already dealing a lot of damage in return, even to this armored unit. So yeah, the Trolls need to get out of there before they start losing models. It was a worthwhile first charge. Also, another charge coming in here. But is that a Pendulum? Oh yeah, the Pendulum is going to hit. Chosen Halberds were not moved out of the way on time there. It is, of course, very difficult to do that with the low casting time of Pendulum. Now the Marauder Horsemen, they're actually running into the Beast of Tashnar, intentionally or not, maybe just trying to break them. Over here the Chaos Trolls were wavering for a second, but the standard die was popped, so they're back now. Sigvald doing a number on the Fimir Balefiend. Frog is coming in. Feral Mammoths are coming in. And the Chaos Trolls, they're all being pulled back and given time to regenerate. I like that. Let them take the first brunt. Okay, this guy did get routed just as I said that. That's Caster's Curse. But they'll be back. So yeah, they took the brunt of that attack and now they're going back in. But here one of them is getting terrified, despite the presence of the Aspiring Champions, because they were losing combat there as well. The Chaos Trolls on this side are also getting terrified. So yeah, lots of Chaos Trolls getting terrified. They may have armor, but they're still the same old cowards. The Feral Mammoth is rampaging, but it has been made unbreakable by the Wintertooth Crown. And the Beast of Tashnar, they are catching these Marauder Horsemen. Marauder Horsemen are now going to pile on them, I guess, to try and break them, get them off there, but a lot of Marauder Horsemen are dying in the process. Another Pendulum coming down. That one didn't seem to hit quite as well. Sigvald not having a great time against these Feral Mammoths. And yeah, currently it looks like the Norskins are pulling ahead in this melee brawl, despite Wulfric not being there. But Trog is doing a pretty good job, and this is actually a loreful battle, because in the lore, Trog is the one who eventually kills Sigvald, and it looks like he might be doing that this battle as well. Chaos forces just they're not able to stand up to those Marauders, and especially Feral Mammoths. Trog going to kill some of his own kin here, as it seems. Yep. Smacking that troll in the back. And yeah, Chaos, they still have a lot of their Marauder Horsemen standing. They're trying to do what they can against these Feral Mammoths, but they're not the most high damaging units. And they need time to do that damage, and it looks like there's nothing left to really hold up that front line long enough for them to do the necessary damage. Sigvald is going backwards. He's being chased by the Balefiend. He is regenerating. There's that, but there's also Trog who might be regenerating still. Decent unit of Chosen Halberds here. Somewhat in the middle of nowhere. The Feral Mammoth just chilling nearby. And the Chaos Trolls on this side are being rallied and sent back, but it doesn't look like there's a whole lot Chaos can do at this point. Trying to spend their ammo. At this point, once you pull ahead, you can just start trading 1 for 1, and that's kind of what Alhalkin is doing here. Sending the Marauder Horseman after the enemy Marauder Horseman, because he knows he can take that trade. This stage of the battle. Now a Spirit Leech does come in, but this thing has so much health that Spirit Leech is probably not going to matter too much to it. It is a better target than Trog, though, that's for sure. I'm not disagreeing with the play, but I just don't think it's enough at this point. Trolls, finding the Berserkers, everything is getting terrified again. Chosen Halberds, they are coming in. They're pretty low as well, they could actually get terrified by one of these mammoths too. Oh, but they are killing this mammoth. Sigvald might just be able to finish this thing off. No, it actually always looks lower than it actually is. The health bar is pretty much empty, but it still has 1.2k health. A little bit more even. Feral Mammoth gains a chevron. And Sigvald routes. That Alaukin is 1-0 ahead. Victory for Norska. I think that really came down to just troll leadership, which isn't known for being very good. Because you have your aspiring champions there to help out with it, but in the end it just wasn't enough. And then when you see a pendulum going down on a chosen halberd at the very start of the battle, that's one of the units that had to do a lot of work here. Let's go. Of course, completely impartial, but on the other hand, I would really love this to go to a game 3. Here we are. Mushroom Cave. It's definitely a very pretty map. The water in the middle might make it a little bit awkward. But something you can play around with. There's 2 Illyrian Reavers, 1 Silver Helm. We have the Fireborn, actually, interestingly enough. 2 units of Silverin Guard. Units of Rangers. Units of Spearmen. There's 1 Bolt Thrower to try and hold that position. Then we have Teclis, Bird Teclis, as people affectionately call him. Sword of Teclis. And the Bound Fiery Convocation. There's also the Potion of Chiroy. Regrowth. Enfeebling Foe. Net of Amentok. Raider Arcane Conduit. Kindle Flame. It's gonna synergize well with the Fireborn. Attuned to magic. And then just the regular stats that he has. That every lord has. And then for the Bretonnians, we once again see the 1 trap, like Prince did earlier. I think it's a tactically good decision. Have that 1 trap. Front line of peasant mobs. Men-at-arms with shields behind them. 1 foot squire here. Actually 2. 3 peasant bowmen with box arrows. There's the front line of... well, not a front line. There's the defenders of the Fleur de Lis. 2 Grail Knights, companions of Canel. And... oh. Knights of the Realm as well, so good selection of cavalry here. No paladins. We usually see them, not this time. The Fey Enchantress on a horse. The favor of the Fey. And some things Bretonnia definitely has going for it. Fey Enchantress, 60% magic resistance. So Teclis, he probably still beats her one-on-one, but honestly, it wouldn't be a good fight for him. And other than that, there's not a lot of threat to the Fey Enchantress. And also the Companions of Canel over here. They have 25% fire resistance. So if they get to fight the Fireborn, and that's a fight they might actually get, then a lot of the damage the Fireborn do will be negated. Let's see how this goes. Tony has a 500 man advantage. The Bolt Thrower is moving forward. Won't have the best targets, I think, whereas the Trab should have good targets. In the Spearmen even, and the Silvering Guard. And the more spread out Rangers, of course, are not the ideal target, but not a terrible target either. Costing 600 gold. Yeah, I think the Trab is probably going to get the better of this first engagement. Teclis, I think, looking for something he can net. Took a couple of poison arrows. He still has 91 speed. Teclis, yeah, he's prowling. He is on the prowl. What is he doing here exactly? He is netting this trap, and is he going to destroy it with a fiery convocation? Yes, he is. I wonder if that takes it down instantly. If it does, that's 600 gold cost. But the damage just wasn't that great. Because it kind of went off to the side. I think, like, you saw the line right here, right? I think if it goes right through them, it actually does more. But they moved even though they were netted, it seemed, by dropping the trap. So yeah, that play looked very promising, but in the end didn't achieve what El Halkin wanted. That could have been a dead foot squire or a dead peasant archer. In the end, nothing really died. The trap is now shooting the field trebuchets. It's going to take a while to take them out, but it is an artillery battle. It will win in the end. And now the Illyrian Reavers are coming in onto these peasant mobs. They're just annoying chaff, but they have to be dealt with. So a charge from Teclis and the Illyrian Reavers will see to them, and the lines are now engaging. And the trap is pulling out of range, but I think HDS has his Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower on guard mode, and he's already aiming at different targets, but cavalry is coming in from the side. Cavalry is coming in through the center. The spears are sent to deploy it, but they are fighting in the water, so the cavalry has the advantage there. And now some peasant bowmen actually are in range of the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower, so it probably wants to go back. But the cavalry is approaching from that side, and yeah, there's a unit of Silver Helms guarding it here. But Grail Knights versus Silver Helms, that's a pretty uneven matchup. Now, the defenders of the Fleur de Lis charged in here. They have magic damage. They're kind of like discount Grail Knights, so they tend to do well against High Elf Dragon Princes and most of their cavalry in general. Yeah, the trap, I mean the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower is going down, but look, a net comes in at the right time, and that's a great play. That's a great play from HDS, who is under a lot of pressure here, but getting this Grail Knight out of the way by denying its charge and charging it with 2 units, that's a big play that he really needed at this point as well. Earthblood comes in, going to heal the companions, going to heal the Grail Knights. Teclis is doing what he can fight them, but his spearmen are almost routing, and now Knight of the Realm is coming in from the back, and the Fireball want to turn around, but I don't think they did on time. They didn't get their charge off, so might be a bad fight for them, but I think they might be getting a regrowth here soon. Yes, the regrowth comes in, going to restore 1,392 health and restore their vigor. You can see only 2 models have died since that charge happened, and Teclis and the Firebone just looking really strong right now, routing another unit of Bretonnian cavalry. But the Bretonnians pulling ahead in the infantry fight. There's still the defenders of the Fleur de Lis, still the companions of Canel. There's still a very healthy unit of Grail Knights, with the Fae being pretty much untouched, so it looks pretty dicey at this point. But another net comes down, and ooh, this is going to be a beautiful cast. The Fiery Convocation, the Grail Knights, and the companions of Canel taking, especially the Grail Knights actually taking massive damage from that. Not enough to rout them just yet though, although if Teclis comes in here right now, he might push that unit over the edge, but it seems he's going for the Fae instead. Here we're going to see that magic resistance coming in. Those were 2 hits that both deal 440 damage, but it was very heavily negated by the Fae's big magic resistance. So she's pretty safe at this point. Back charge into the spearmen, they're going to break, freeing up this flank. And the High Elves just running out of numbers and running out of tools to deal with this. Nicholas is still fighting the companions of Canel, keeping his infantry that's surrounding him in the fight. Looks like he's about to be on his own here. And peasant archers, when left unopposed, they can do so much for the little they cost. It is definitely a unit that carries Bretonnia in a lot of battles. They are very easy to rout though, so they're definitely not an overpowered unit. If you create these ideal circumstances for them, they can get so much work done. And yeah, that concludes this series. El Halkin with the 2-0. Very well played there. HDS put on a good fight. This matchup still pretty tough. So Prince not the most confident against Beastman. It seems to be a matchup that High Elves struggle with, at least when they start playing the game. So Prince, he has 4 silver in guard. He has 2 regular spearmen. He has 3 Lothern Sea guards, 2 silver helms, a Lariel with Earthblood, Shield of Thorns, Star of Avalorn, Arcane Conduit, and Fast Protection. She is on an eagle. And we have a Star Dragon Sky. The silver helms don't have shields. Or Steve, looking to take advantage of water here, I think. We have a Cygor. 2 Harpies up in the air. Chaos Spawn. 2 Razor Gore Herd. 2 Ungor Raiders. Ungor Spearmen with shields, 4 of them. Deployed in a very interesting defensive geometry. I like it. Like it. We have a Gorbel, Bray Shaman of Death, Spirit Lead Soulblight, and Malagor, the Dark Omen. Double Spellcaster. I thought, if this is a Bray Shaman, then this will definitely be Morgr. But it wasn't the case. It's the Arcane Conduit, the Mantle of Korok, the Bray Scream, the Icons of Vilification, and Bestial Surge. Also has the Unholy Power. So Bestial Surge, quite a nice little passive, keeps your vigor up for those longer battles, which against High Elves with all their healing are usually a thing. Usually the battles take a little bit longer. And the danger here for the Beastman is of course Malagor getting killed by the Star Dragon pretty quickly. He has some tools to protect himself, the Gorbel, the Cygor, to a lesser degree the Bray Shaman. Chaos Spawn could come in and give everything that tries to jump him a big hug. But you have to be really on point. Really on point. There's 1 charge, double or triple hit, and Malagor is gone. So thanks to the Cygor, High Elves will have to move up. Now typically a Cygor is a bit risky, because it doesn't trade at all against bolt throwers. Even if there's only like 1 or 2, but then again for High Elves it's usually not so interesting to take bolt throwers, because if you get rushed really heavily, you don't want to have artillery now, do you? One thing about Prince's build here, he has of course a Lariel, he has a Star Dragon. What he doesn't have is this third, really highly valuable unit that you usually want to put under the Star of Avalorn. So he will probably try to be with a Silver in Guard when he puts those stars down. Because healing them with the star is still pretty worthwhile. 850 gold unit, why not? Alright, so Cygor is gonna start throwing. Lariel and the Star Dragon are going for the Harpies to drive them off. Harpies could be annoying to be Slaughter and Seaguard later on, but right now don't have anything to do here really. Bray Shaman of Death is coming in closer, maybe just scouting, seeing if there's any Shadow Warriors here. Oof. Big hit on the Silver in Guard. Look at the damage, that's massive. And yeah, the water on this map advantageous to the Beastman right now, because these units, they will be slowed down. This boulder though going to fall somewhat short of that formation. Alariel, she's looking to do some damage. She's popped her Arcane Conduit. Not sure why. Seems like she's using spells yet. And the Cygor keeps switching targets. It's not a bad idea. Because of course focusing one unit down makes sense. A unit like this is already a little bit more difficult to hit than a unit like this. There's fewer models remaining. And another big hit on a Lothern Seaguard. And you know, the great thing about the Cygor is you can drop stuff below 50% health pretty quickly. And if that Murderous Prowess goes away, they are a lot less efficient. Most of the models also get killed. Can't be healed up. Yeah, looking like a tough start to the battle here. Ariel also taking some shots. He's trying to dodge as much as possible. See a spell coming in here. Are we? Yep, the Mantle of Gorok being used to actually put some damage on those Harpies. Okay, but the splash damage is going to wreck the Harpies. These Harpies, they're doing a bit of damage, but they'll probably rout off before this Mantle of Gorok even wears off. Yeah. Here we go, they're terrified. Bit of an optimistic fight for them there. And now the Cygor is in range of the Lothern Seaguard. He's having to go back. Silver Helms, they're threatening the flanks. Harpies have rallied. And Silverin Guard are charging forward into the Ungor and the Goreherd. That's a fight they should be able to win. But a Gorbull is it going to just run through onto those archers? I don't know. It looked like that's what he wants to do. He's going into the Silverin Guard. Okay. The Star Dragon's coming in with a breath. Some counter micro here. Still decent damage. One of the Ungor Raiders is routing. Now the big boys are moving in. These Chaos Spawn in a bit of an awkward spot because it's pure shields. I mean, pure spears. There's only spears in this army, pretty much, and some cavalry, so you're gonna have to fight something that is anti-large. But Steve, using his Chaos Spawn to try and control this dragon, poison it a little bit. Probably pull them back from the Silverin Guard now. Or sort of try to use them as cavalry. Now these Harpies, as I said earlier, can be quite annoying to the Lothern Seaguard. Quite a bit of damage to them. But the other spearmen are now coming in, so they'll probably be routed off rather quickly. Earthblood coming down into this big center engagement. Silver Helms, they are grinding it out, and the Star Dragon looks like he's getting ready to jump, and he's going for the caster. He's on a chariot. Oh, but that charge didn't really connect, but then the follow-up attack does, and this Brayshaman is terrified. Now the Star of Avalorn comes in. The Star Dragon wants to stay below that area of effect, so he gets the full healing of it. And does that. A lot of units are going into the center engagement, but this is usually kind of fight the Beastmen don't want. They're grinding against the melee force that's being healed while their units are dying because they can't be healed. But this Cygor though, he has actually found a better spot to throw from again. Oh, we see a Ray Scream coming in, which dealt huge damage to the Silver Helms and the Spears. And if those are removed, Alariel and the Star Dragon are by themselves, and these units can do some more. But there's another Silver Helm actually helping out with that, and the Gorbull has just been melted by the Star Dragon. So the Spray Shaman does come back, but he's still wavering, so I doubt he will be able to do too much. Yeah, the Silver Helms, so much silver in this roster. They're going to rout off a unit here, and currently it's not looking good for the Beastmen. Good cavalry micro coming in here. The Harpies, they are fighting these Lothern Seaguard, but the Star Dragon comes to deal with that. Harpies also under fire from the other Lothern Seaguard. Still a full spear back here. It looks like Prince is taking this and proceeding to the semi-final. Cygor now caught in melee. He looks really scary with that big rock, but doesn't do too much damage. Slamming his hoof down into those guys. Oop. And boulder comes down. I just love to watch him smash that boulder into stuff. Doesn't look like it's gonna help though. Chain Route is coming in, and Prince with a pretty convincing victory, even though it looked a little bit dicey at the start there. Beastmen, Worstmen. Yeah, they're not the best faction in the game. Can definitely put up a good fight against High Elves though. Yeah, Prince, pretty good build. Good execution. Like the Cav micro. Like the engagement. I'm going to eat and did some writing for my upcoming guide. What's your upcoming guide? They have a 60-minute timer. Well, that's probably not going to matter. It should be 20. I'll remind him for the next game. So, Chameleon Kings deployed up front. There's a Bastillodon with the solar engine. There's 2 Skin cohort with javelins. Let's see, 3 red-crested skinks, one of them the cohort of Sotek. There's 2 regular skinks, so big old skink build. Skink Priest of Beasts is here as well, just cheap on foot with the Flock of Doom and a Manticore summon, very effective there. And the Saurus Old Blood. I thought it was Krokar for a second, but it is a Saurus Old Blood. The Horn of Kaigor, that's actually interesting. More melee attack, more leadership, more charge. And stand your ground, sort of a smaller version of Karl Franz with his buffing abilities. And 3 regular Cold One Riders. I do enjoy seeing that, because when I look at the units, it always seems to me like these guys are simply more cost effective than the 1000 gold ones. Because yeah, those guys are anti-large, but they trade some stats in return. And their armor piercing damage, I believe, is very similar. So, for the Dark Elves, Marquis, representing ODM, 3 repeater crossbows, 1 Scourge Runner, 3 Cold One Knights. Okay, so cavalry advantage going to the Dark Elves here. And a nice front line of Dread Spears, going to be very useful. All 4 of them with their silver shields against those Chameleon Kings. And the Blackguard of Nagarond as sort of the heavy hitters in the back. We have Morathi with just the Soul Stealer and her debuffing abilities, and the Greater Arcane Conduit, of course. So I quite like both armies. If I had to, you know, make a prediction, I think Dark Elf army, though it is a little bit, well, it's quite a bit smaller actually. Might be able to take it here. Although if their infantry ends up dying too quickly, they could get overwhelmed by that point. It's really gonna come down to the cavalry engagement. Like, Dark Elves have the stronger cavalry, but the Saurus Old Blood is a stronger combatant than Morathi, more or less. Although Morathi can support better. Okay. First exchange, Dark Riders are going to discover these Chameleon Skinks in the least pleasant of ways. Oh, and the Skink cohort took a shot in the back from the Bastillodon. That's unfortunate, but at the same time, Morathi is taking some fire. Precious Pegasus, precious hit points. And the Javelins are coming forward. Cold One Knights are looking for the charge, and they're going to get it. Just a few Javelins being thrown before the charge happens. But now the Cold One Riders and the Red-Crested Skinks are coming in to punish that charge. Nice shot here on the Scourge Hunter Chariots. And these Cold One Knights are done, I think. They're sort of getting charged in the back, they're getting slowed down. Morathi is coming in, so this could still be a decent trade. She gets the Soul Stealer off, going to get a little bit of healing. Fight here, these Cold One Knights are going to turn around, but probably rout off just a second. And yeah, the Dark Riders firing away. One Cold One Knight also tried to break down into the backline, managed to rout the Skin cohort, but then got routed itself. And if the Dark Elves lose their cavalry too quickly here, which currently is what's happening, they're losing their crowd control, losing the little mobility they have, well, the little melee mobility they have, so that could be quite scary. Cold One Knights though On this flank, down to 28 models. Still alive. Some good shots onto the Saurus Oldblood there. The Manticore has been summoned. It's probably going to dive down into this infantry, which is fighting in the forest. Spearmen shouldn't have too good of a time against these Skinks, but the Blackguard... Actually, the Blackguard are not having a very good time against these Skinks either. Marathi might want to come in and help a little with that. Ooh, these Dark Riders just microed up before they ran into that melee engagement. And the Dark Rider repeated crossbows, they have the extended Flock of Doom on them and the Manticore. And these guys, they're getting shot to pieces. Ooh, they were so overextending. Yeah. That is a big loss, because you needed them to deal with the Old Blood and the Bastiladon Solar Engine. Meanwhile, Marathi is killing some Skink creatures over here, but they're not the most relevant. I would say that she would be better off fighting with her men here and giving them that, you know, much needed melee debuff. Now she's fighting the Chameleon Skinks. It seems infantry fight might still go the way of the Dark Elves, but even that's not certain. The cavalry and skirmisher engagement just really going the way of the Lizardmen. We now have Marathi trapped. She doesn't have the most mass. Might not be able to get out of there. And she's just not very efficient at, you know, fighting units like this. You can see how she just hit the Skink there. Only hit one. And oh man, laser hits her. The Carnosaur hits her. With that, she's pretty much done. She's terrified. She's trying to get out of there. And yeah, with that, I don't see this battle developing well. Like, the infantry is still holding, though. That's the unfortunate part for the Dark Elves here. Like, you see all these engagements happening, and you think if they had just gone slightly better, if they hadn't lost those units yet, their infantry would be able to maybe win it in the end and give the repeated crossbows the space they needed. Although this positioning is so good on this Bastiladon Solar Engine, just firing into the flank of this engagement. Not only doing damage, but also debuffing the units it hits. And Marquis is going to pull out there, just... yeah, nothing wrong with the army at all. Just, the better engagements for the Lizardmen there. And Alhalkin takes it. Alright, let's get into it. Empire Unfortified. Second match of the semifinals. Marquis versus Alhalkin. Marquis has to make this work. He wants a chance to get to the final. But so far Alhalkin looks so strong, my god. Almost reminding me of watching Krabling play these cups. But he's just really, really dominant. Even in the later stages of the tournament. But every game is different. Here we are. Empire Unfortified. I don't know where this map suddenly came from, but I like it. I'll have to see if the players like it too. Rusty Airs. Be your care, boys. Stone Trolls. 8-peak Loonies. I believe there's 2 Forest Goblin Spider Riders, yes. And we have 2 Goblins and 4 Savage Orc Piggins. There's Azak the Slaughter, so interestingly enough, no missile cavalry at all. Azak the Slaughter, the buffing machine, Azak's art armor, Spirit Leech, aspect of the Dread Knight, I like it, and Slagas Slashes. Also life leeching, and the encouraging of course, not the crown of Azak, probably didn't have money left over for that. I find that the extra leadership can come in handy. Beast of Tashnar are here. For Marquis, there's also Marauder Horsemen, 3 Marauder Berserkers, 2 Marauders deployed up front, a Shaman Sorcerer of Death, an Armored Skin Wolf, another Skin Wolf. And Wulfric the Wanderer on his Mammoth with a Feral Mammoth, which we saw being very useful against Chaos earlier on. Let's see if it can also be useful against Greenskins. Gorgeous map, Marquis says. I think so too. It has interesting terrain features. And it looks nice. And we have Sigmar watching over the whole battle. Cool, doesn't it? There's even, like, what is this? Well, that's a tower, an observatory. But I saw something different. It's all like a Buddha figure, but maybe I'm just hallucinating. Anyway, let's pay attention to the battle. Alright, so both sides moving up. There's a little bit of terrain to navigate around. On this side, sides just going for it. Both kind of aggressive factions. Azag is moving up, trying to scout out or maybe bait out a volley here. So that might be risky. What was he gonna take? He did a Spirit Leech on the Marauder Horseman. That's interesting. It ended up killing 7 of them, as it does to cavalry, but that's not the most valuable unit. But he probably has his reasons. Some terrain crumbling here. People in these farms are feeling really scared right about now. And yeah, the 8-peak loonies are moving forward, you know, as they do. Get a little nerf in this patch. But there's still the unbreakable gobbos that we all know and love. Now the lines are meeting. Marauders chasing into, charging into Savage Biggins. We know how that is going to go. And both mammoths coming in here. The 8-peak loonies sort of missing with those spinning loons. On this side, the trolls now come in. And Azag just diving that engagement, going to terrify these guys off pretty quickly. Now we do see Doom and Darkness on these Savage Orc Biggins. It's going to be countered, so Lore of Death being used to counter Lore of Death. So Aspect of the Dread Knight going to make these troops immune to terror by giving them terror. Now the archers are able to fire. Boat just came in. Doing quite a bit to these Savage Biggins, but there's some goblins on the flank, and the Marauder Berserkers on this flank are already routing. Now, they are getting through though, the mammoths. This side, now that the Aspect of the Dread Knight has worn off, is breaking. Although the Stone Trolls are holding for now, and the Wa came in at a very timely point. And yeah, the Greenskin Archers, never underestimate them, guys. They're doing so much to Wulfric. He has these annoying spiders on him as well. On their own, not much of a threat, but definitely very annoying to him. Now, Azag is diving into the back, trying to get rid of the Beasts of Tashnar, who are eating his Orc Arrow boys. And Wulfric is just getting belted by arrows, and also fighting these Stone Trolls, which is not the best engagement for him, I would say. Looks like he might just outright die here. Azag is still in the air. There's no way Azag is going to allow Wulfric to return. He doesn't even need to chase him, he just chattered. But he does want to kill him, so the Spirit Leech comes in. Is Wulfric gonna die? The Spirit Leech wears off, but he's not coming back. He is not coming back. And it looks like Savage Orc Biggins are just destroying this Shaman Sorcerer along with Azag. And the Norskins are not having a good time. Mammoth is being taken care of. The Horsemen are in melee against Orcs. Azag is still full health. Skinwolves will probably get terrified in just a second here. And once again, just very clean, dominant play from El Halkin, who is going to be our first finalist. Tonia versus Greenskins for the second time here today. And so far I feel like the format I'm using for the picking is working out, in the sense that I haven't really seen lopsided matchups. I mean, we had like Piles versus Bretonia, but you know, I don't think it's enough of a counter to say like, oh, that's an imbalanced matchup. So yeah, I feel like it's working out just like it did the previous weeks, but we can always improve if there's community feedback on certain things, so don't hold it back if you have something to say. So questing knights, companions, knights errants, it's the same army we saw before with the 5 men-at-arms, the 3 or 4 peasant mob, the 4 archers, 2 of them pox arrows, Luan, Leon Kerr with all the bells and whistles, the Damsel of Beast, Flock of Doom, Manticore summon. It's such a common counter these days. Reject them all, less work next year. Yeah, good idea. And there's the Scroll of Shielding. Well, I was just a substitute teacher at that school, so I'm not going to stay there for the next year. It was always a temporary thing. So, field trebuchets are in the back here. They proved very useful last game. Now there's 2 Doomdiver catapults. Ooh. Missile cavalry, Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers, Goblin Wolf Rider Archers, Wolf Rider Archers, Spider Riders, some nasty sculptors skulking in the woods. Azak, actually, oh man. That is a choice that may work out, but it is also risky to go air against Bretonia, but he's confident enough to go air here. Fate of Buna, and the Spirit Leech. Seeker, Life Leeching. Just a line of goblins and some night goblins. Even cavalry, Orc, Poor Boy, Biggins. Typically not really favored in this matchup because they do so badly against Tonian cavalry, especially trading charges, but you know, if they get stuck in, if they don't have to eat a charge, they can still do a lot. And we have the Arachnarok Queen. Also, these guys got their armor buffed, so they're a little better now. So yeah, somewhat similar approach to Slade, but all in all, a bigger army. With cavalry. Actually wondering, what did he take? Oh yeah, he doesn't have black orcs, so a lot less invested into infantry. To get more specialist units, I would say. In this case, the 1 treb is still going to be useful, but it doesn't have black orcs to shoot at. It actually doesn't have any great targets when you think about it. So Bretonia will probably be the ones going forward here, because they can't sustain fire from 2 Doomdivers. Those things will destroy the peasant bowmen, regular peasants, which you do need. Luan is trying to chase Azag. One good thing about Azag, among many good things of course, is that he's very fast. Just look at him, 136 speed. Once he pops the Foe Seeker, he's not going to be caught very easily. So, a little bit of poking going on the flanks here, which I like. It's actually kind of annoying when you're trying to move up and you're simultaneously getting shot, because then your archers have to stop to shoot back and you're buying time for the artillery to fire. Also, these archers, they're now turning, presenting their flank to these Doomdivers, which means the shots could potentially clear the entire unit. Let's see. They're coming in. I think they're targeting the peasant archers. Yeah, they're slamming into them. Not quite going into the back here. So that hit could have definitely been worse, but yeah, as long as the Doomdivers are firing, the Greenskins are quite happy here. Prince so far is being quite patient, chasing Azag. Just to keep an eye on his Damsel of Beast, though. If Azak is kind of a flying assassin, he finds an opportunity to dive down on that damsel, he could kill her very quickly. So, Bretonians using the forest as cover to move up, shooting back on the Goblin Wolf Rider archers, who are taking that fire. Goblin Spider Rider archers actually coming in for a charge here on the peasant mob. Lots of stuff happening on both sides. Players have to be really on top of their micro here with the units as spread out as they are. Yeah, another cheeky charge here by the Boar Boy Biggins on these peasant mob. They're just peasant mob, but it's always good to clear them. But one peasant bowman is being routed, but at the same time, Azak has actually, I won't say been caught, but he's taken 2 hits so far, and that can be significant in the end game. Because right now he's just being, you know, a bit of a pest, but at some point he's definitely gonna have to commit and fight something. And his health is not coming back at any point. So on this side, a cavalry engagement happening, the Biggins and the Skulkers fighting up against the men-at-arms with shields. Prince pulling back his knights errant. It's not really a fight they want. Cavalry maybe meanwhile being used to kill these peasant mobs. That's quite interesting. Usage of them. Quite effective as well. And the spider, ooh, those knights errant were in a bad spot. They wanted to charge the Doomdiver catapults, but they kind of got caught up on this unit of goblins. And very quickly routed by the Arachnor Queen. Engagements are happening all across the battlefield here. Peasant mob taking fire, the Boar Boy Biggins are retreating out of the forest. Men-at-arms fighting up against Night Goblins here. The Nasty Skulkers, yeah, they are now being destroyed. Companions of Canel are here. That's an amazing unit for Prince in this battle. Because there's nothing that's really going to kill it easily. And look at Azak. How did he take so much damage? I really wonder. Azak even seemed to go down there for a second and pull back up. But yeah, the damage Azak has taken, it's really significant. And that's a big deal. One of the Doomdivers has been routed. One of the knights did get through, but seemed to do that at the cost of their own lives. Now Azag is reunited with the Spider Queen. As long as he stays on the ground, she will keep him safe. So, a couple of units being sent out here. Night Goblin's actually going to catch the Peasant Bowman, as it seems. And yeah, the battle is just all over the place, guys. It's hard to tell who's going to win at this point, but because one of the Doomdivers went down, because Azag has already taken so much damage, I would say that the Bretonnians are slightly ahead. But that was a fate of Buna, and there's no healing here, so Companions of Canel, oof, very nasty cast. There's still 40 of them, which means pretty much all of them are still alive, but they're on such low health. So those models are going to drop very fast in the next fight they're in. Luen, is he going for it? Does he dare go for the attack here? He does. Does he have Sword of Quran ready? It looks like... doesn't, at least he's not using it yet, but he is going to kill Azag, or at least rout him. 2 big hits there, and that was a risky play, diving down next to that spider, but it was a calculated risk. One that paid off. Azag just maybe feeling a little bit too safe there, and now the spider isolated against the companions with Azag routing, so no leadership or any other support for it. Azag still alive though, can still cast spells, but a stiff breeze will kill him at this point. He has to keep flying away, and Luen is on his tail, quite literally. In the back though, the Goblin Spider Riders and the Wolf Riders, they've managed to kill the trap. They are killing the archers, so that's something the Greenskins definitely have going for them. But the spider is dying, guys, and it's such a critical unit in these engagements. And Luen is still full health, so yeah, it seems like Prince is doing it again. Getting quite well. Actually, the score is still tied, despite what it says on the screen. It's gonna be a 1-0 here, but yeah, I should have changed that. Okay, so Azag, he's probably going to die here to Luen. No. Running away. He's getting away right before he takes that hit. That was clutch. At this point, I'm not sure if it matters anymore, because the chain route is so close. So yeah, this greenskin army definitely looked promising. Definitely looked like it had all the tools it needed to win this battle. But a few things: the Doomdiver's getting caught, and Azag taking too much damage. Seal to deal. GG, Prince 1-0 up against Dope Hat. Well, I said he should take Scar Snake, but you know, Azag does have a pretty dope hat himself. There's a lot of people with dope hats. Overlay. With the 3 Wild Riders with shields. So not that good at fighting Empire Cavalry, but they have the mobility advantage. So they don't always have to take fights. The Glade Lord up in the air, Arrow of Kurnus. We have an Rima. Of course, Dragon Breath. 4 Eternal Guard, one of them with shields. The Spell Singer of Life. Earthblood. Shield of Thorns, interestingly enough. Usually it's regrowth. And the 3 Way Watchers, the main damage dealers in this army. Against that, a huge Empire host. This is a big army. Yeah. Outnumbering the Wood Elves almost 2-1. So, Spearmen with shields and Swordsmen deployed up front. 1 Sigmar Sun. There's actually 4 Spearmen in total. Some of them are covering the flanks. We have some regular archers here. Those guys are good against Dryads mostly. And they're good because they're cheap, but of course they don't have the range to shoot back. The Knights of the Blazing Sun and Empire Knights in the forests. And we also have War Wagon mortars. Oh boy. It's like artillery, but not really artillery. So to see how that will work out. We have a Bright Wizard on a Pegasus here. Fireball, Flaming Sword of Ruin, and Blast for even more magic damage. And a Huntsman General on foot. That's how the army got so big. They have a very cheap general. I think he's only 650. He is actually useful. You can shoot at a dragon and not get sniped very easily. So the Empire doesn't know where the Way Watchers are. They're advancing, they're scouting. Way Watchers are looking for targets. First Fireball is coming in, but this should be no issue to dodge. It's going for the Spell Singer. He was trying to run to the forest, but yeah, the Fireball falls short. A little bit of wasted magic there. Not the end of the world. Now the mortars are firing. So far missing. Some of them connect. Some good damage on these Eternal Guard. Unlike cannons, mortars don't really kill that quickly. They mostly deal hit point damage. Or shots coming in on those Eternal Guard. They're the cheapest thing Prince has, but you still don't want him to get shot by mortars, obviously. And yeah, this Empire army, it's able to reposition and fire, and reposition and fire, so it's actually kind of kiting the Wood Elves, if you can believe that. More screeching mortar shots coming in here. Killing those Eternal Guards. Fire Wizard is looking for an opportunity to shoot another fireball, it seems.
Yes,
Ooh, but the Huntsman General is revealed. And he's been netted. Are the Waywatchers in range? They said he isn't easily sniped, but of course, if this happens... That breath wasn't the greatest. Still some damage on him though, which is not going to be healed up. Still some shots coming in. This guy could be in trouble. I almost feel like Prince should have charged him because the cavalry wasn't close. Yeah. In the end, not a bad play, but a bit of a missed opportunity nevertheless. Wild Riders, I'm not sure if they got their charge off. These guys did. And they're fighting in the forest, so that's good for them. Is that a... Flaming Sword comes in on the Knights of the Blazing Sun, increasing the fire damage they already do. And this is a fight, thanks to the forest, that seems to be favoring Wild Riders, but neither side is going to come out of this very healthy. Very healthily. So now the Empire infantry is engaging, and they shouldn't have the worst time against these Eternal Guard. Yeah, these Wild Riders, they are now wavering, but so are the Knights of the Blazing Sun. This is a close fight. Mortar shots just coming in, and the Wild Riders actually break first, but there's an opening here for the Empire Knights and the Knights of the Blazing Sun. I don't think Prey of Anat Rima is ready yet, so Waywatchers, they need to start moving, but they're not. They're getting charged, and this unit, oh, it's taking so much damage. Half of it is dead. But they could kill the Empire Knights in return, and then it's not the worst thing in the world. So the blast comes in. Not going to do much, that Spellsinger barely felt that. But Empire is winning the front line. They have a lot of infantry to press forward with. And a lot of archers as well. Yeah, the Waywatchers, what they really want is these high value targets they can snipe out. We're not seeing them in this army, apart from the cavalry really, but with the cavalry engagement on the flank 1, there's now 2 more beat up cavalry units coming in, but even beat up cavalry units can kill Waywatchers, and the mortars can kill Waywatchers, but Right Wizard is dying, the Glade Lord, so everyone's losing something at this point. With Prey of Anat Rima used, these Empire Knights can safely charge in. Thankfully for the High Elves, Wood Elves, there's not that many Knights left, so they're going to get away with the Black Eye here. Mortar shots still doing a lot, and the Empire may have lost their Wizard, but they have their Mortar Wagons. Still have their General. Still have some Empire Knights. And I think this may just be too many units for the Waywatchers to kill. Especially when they're under continuous mortar fire. What is the play at this point? I think what Prince is probably thinking about now is trying to snipe this Lord. But because you snipe the Lord, suddenly all of this stuff is a lot less dangerous to you. So yeah, that's what he's going for. So in general, takes an Arrow of Kurnus there. I think one is still available. Some shots from the Waywatchers come in, but good micro there. Going to sidestep that, but even the regular shots from the Glade Lord can eventually put the nail in the coffin for this Huntsman General. I can't overstate how bad that would be for the Empire when there's still a healthy dragon in the air. And this guy's routing now. Huntsman General is out of here. Uh-oh. Seems, if we look at the battlefields, I can't really say there's cavalry advantage on either side. The Waywatchers are doing what they can. Get these Empire Knights off the backs of these Wild Riders. And the Glade Lord is just trying to plant the last arrow shots onto this Huntsman General, who just chattered. He just chattered, so once he runs off the field, his dragon is going to be so powerful. The Wood Elves are still very much outnumbered though. But the Empire Knights are routing. The Wild Riders are getting into the archers. Sigmar's sons are here. Wild Riders. They're not healthy enough to kill all of this cheap Empire infantry and archers. Yeah, where do you go from here? Go to Wood Elves. You have your big dragon, you still have your caster. Problem is, if you land, you get shot by a lot of stuff. I think next priority target is the archers. That's what he's trying to go for, I guess. But his Way Watchers are under so much pressure, so it seems numbers may just carry the day here. Oh, that was a good breath on the war wagon, which may just be routed off now. Eternal Guard can catch it, which they can. Just poking those war horses. I like how the war horses sort of headbutt. Oh, that's the melee animation. So on this side, the Way Watchers are getting caught. And the Spellsinger is getting caught, and that is really bad. Because if the Spellsinger dies, it looks like she is. There's no more healing for the dragon. Dragons, they can always carry against a bunch of cheap units like this. But generally they carry if they get healed. If they don't get healed, it's a little bit more tricky. So yeah, that's a massive loss. Completely massive loss. Not sure how that happened either. Is she on foot? Oh, she's on a horse. So I would have expected her to survive, but it seems it looked like the Empire units were routing for a second, but it was just them responding to the Spellsinger routing. So yeah, with that loss, the dragon may not have enough fuel in the tank to kill all this stuff. Because there's not a lot of other killing power left here. Let's turn up the game music, makes things a little bit more epic. Dragon dodging as well as he can. As well as she can, we don't know. She's eating the war wagon mortars. Anytime she lands, she's getting shot by these cheap archers. And yeah, just a cheap infantry against the Way Watchers. It's very strong. Now, Way Watchers are not complete slouches in combat. They do have decent stats, but their health and armor is just too low to really do much. Dragon, once again, trying to dodge past those volleys. There's a lot of arrows. She dives down here, though. Can definitely rout these guys in a single charge, I believe. Then things suddenly get a lot safer for her. There's one unit that won't rout, and that's Sigmar's Sons. And it's almost like a game of whack-a-mole. Oh, but look who's back. Spellsinger of Life somehow got out of there, and if she still has magic left, then could make all the difference. Like 1 or 2 Earthbloods on this Glade Lord and on any remaining units. Prince does have. Could make all the difference here. I'm not sure how she came back. Man, there's been so much back and forth in this battle. But war wagons charged into the Glade Lords. Oh, that's kind of sad to see. Watching war wagons have to melee a dragon. Is there still magic left? Prince saving it until he can group up his units. It's definitely one of those battles where every hit point matters. Balance of power still favors the Empire. Here we go. First blood. Doesn't catch every unit. But it would have been difficult to get the Way Watchers to group up for that heal. The health on the Glade Lord and the Spellsinger is definitely the most important thing here. Glade Lord once again goes down. What she really wants is to shatter these archers. Air routing now. While the Way Watchers are kiting, now caught in combat, out of ammo. So there's that. Man, these war wagons. They look kind of funny. I never really looked at them. The way the horses run is pretty fun. Especially when they're turning. It's like the little legs just moving really quickly. Okay. And then headbutting stuff. Special horses. Okay. The dragon trying to carry this has to go and save the Spellsinger again. Not sure if Prince is aware that the Spellsinger is a very weak combatant. Yep. Dragon is coming in. We'll probably rout the swordsman pretty quickly here. Once again, the balance of power is slipping away for the Wood Elves because the Way Watchers are dying. Hi, Dr. Payne. Still a bit of ammo. 5 shots. What do you use them on? Just anything at this point, I guess. Probably Sigmar Sons because you can't rout them. The Way Watchers fighting the swordsman. The Glade Lord is trying to regroup, probably wants another Earthblood. It's actually close enough that even healing these 9 model Way Watchers could be significant. But I don't know if he has magic left. Oh, he still has a breath, but it misses. They only caught a few units. A big charge here on the Spearmen. They're going to rout. There's so many units, but maybe now the Wood Elf army can finally regroup. If he gets the charge here, get his Way Watchers. And that looks like it's going to happen. Now the question is there still an Earthblood? Really? Yes, you've got a dragon. Yes, you've got Fear and Terror. Motion. More shots coming in. Spearmen are routing. More shots on the Glade Lord. And the mortars. Man, there's still mortars firing. Yeah, I don't think Prince has any magic left. Mortars firing away. Elves try to engage here. Looks like they just don't have enough. Well, the terror rout could happen here. I think it's more likely that army losses will kick in once everything that isn't a dragon gets destroyed. Sigmar's Son's just so valuable right now. Still 1k health, but there's the army losses. That was a great battle. That was a great battle. Tying up the series. Dope hat. Still with a chance to proceed to the final thanks to that. Fight in a forest. There's 3 rangers, the thunder, the peak gate guard. Oh yeah. I believe this is the most expensive infantry unit in the game. Holy hell. These guys look so like I think Dope Hat just picked them because they have dope hats. Little blue hats. Gyrocopters with brimstone guns up in the air. Longbeards, Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. How many Longbeards? 2. 4 miners with blasting charges. Grombrindle, the white dwarf with the smoke bomb. Yes, and believe that's Grombrindle has no fear. Yeah, Grombrindle has no fear. So we can make his entire army unbreakable. 32 seconds. Here we have the Goblobber and the cannons kind of set up in the forest. Now, usually, artillery wants to have cleaner line of sight to shoot. So we'll see how that works out. Prince, meanwhile, has 3 Dark Riders with repeated crossbows, Dark Rider with shields, 3 Scourge Hunter chariots, 4 Bleak Swords, 1 Black Arc Corsair, and the hero squad of the Master, actually not on a chariot this time, Death Hag, Marathi. They'll be buffing each other, grinding down quite a few dwarfs, sure. Marathi, what does she have? She has Soul Stealer and her Wand of the Caridon, which will allow her to bring down some bolts on certain units. So yeah, Prince not opting to... he also has 3 Dark Riders spread around in the back. Not really going for a melee fight against the dwarves with like executioners and things like that. Or looking to poke them down through attrition. But his army could be countered quite heavily by this cannon, these Goblobbers. Maybe even the Gyrocopters, so it's gonna be a tough task to get rid of them, I think. But if he can do that, well, then there's still Rangers who could shoot his Dark Rider repeated crossbow. So the army can work, but because it's not really a brute force army, I think it will require impeccable control. Can't have these Dark Riders take 1 more volley than they should. And Grombrindle in the Peakade Guard could actually even be a challenge to this hero blob. Although it is quite a strong hero blob. Seen it in action. At dwarves with sort of a semi... Miners will be discovered here by the Dark Riders. They're gonna throw... Are they? No, they're throw their blasting charges. That would have been a waste, I think. Let's say this is about crossbow range. Probably a little bit less. Let's see. Dark Riders with shields. Fire from the Goblobber, being macroed back. And dodging that, potentially or not. While the Gyrocopters are scouting this out, and ooh, some big artillery fire. And Ranger fire going into these Dark Riders. Not the most important unit on the field, but you don't want to lose them. Dark Riders, what are they looking to do here? More artillery shots on the Dark Riders. Shooting for those Gyrocopters, but these are micro. Well, although they are taking shots, that's just as I say that. Dark Riders, they do manage to attack the Rangers, but you can see Rangers. They're not like crossbowmen or archers, they just don't die that easily. Dark Riders, they are moving around. Going through the dwarf formation, then deciding against it. Because there's Thunders here. And the Scourge Hunter chariots are in melee. It's these Longbeards. Oh, and they have gotten a flash bomb on them. Need to get out of there. Can't. Oh, the humanity. These poor Scourge Runners, man. He's moving them all together, though, so together they are kinda strong, but at the same time they're taking so much damage. They're not very far away from routing, but now they are getting into the Thunders. Once again, you can see Thunders. They don't instantly die. They're taking damage, but most of them are still alive. Good attack, though, by the Scourge Runners onto those Thunders, dropping them to half health in seconds. And they're just going from unit to unit together. Warriors of Dragonfire pass, now the next target. Probably be charging onto the next unit in a second here. Brindle is trying to chase. Morathi has managed to connect. Where are the other heroes? Master is here. Scourge Runner gets routed. Still has 3 models. Might not come back. Yeah, the Scourge Runners are very low. All of them. But they're all still alive, so... Oh no, this one is dead. Yeah. They won't be doing much in melee. They could still spend a lot of their ammo. If they don't keep taking fire. Now... Brindle getting a little bit overexcited here, it seems. And Morathi and the Death Hag, they've run onto the cannon, and that's something he needs to take out. Needs to get rid of that cannon. Oh, the Dark Riders, look how much damage they're taking. Yeah, Prince is losing a lot of his range damage. Well, most of the dwarf units are still pretty safe. Decent charge here from the half-dead Dark Riders, but the Rangers will probably win that fight in the end anyway. Most of the Dark Elf units dying. Now another smoke bomb coming down. Doesn't look that good for them. Still a healthy P8 card here, all the way in the back. Gyrocopters are firing away. And it seems the hero squad is going for the Thunders, that makes sense. Some miners coming in to save these Thunders. Dark Riders are rallying in the back. Still a decent amount of them. There's still a decent amount of things that can shoot them as well. And now the P8 guard are coming. Now I know this hero squad is very strong. This is the P8 guard. They're definitely going to do some damage to them. And it looks so cool to watch both Morathi and the Death Hag doing their combat roles simultaneously. And now they're going for Brindle, and the big Soul Stealer comes in. And let's look at the stats of these units. So their stats have been dropped to 34, 35. Was a lot higher before. See all the different effects there on them. Brindle, he tanked some damage, but now he's getting out of there again. The Wand of the Caradon. Ooh, that's a big hit on these P8 guard. Minus with blasting charges. So yeah, looks like Prince is currently pulling this back. Mostly thanks to the damage he put on these expensive units. Although his ranged units are still suffering. Some dark or bleak swords rallying though. They could come in, pressure these rangers. Meanwhile, the P8 guard, quite possibly the toughest infantry unit in the game. It's really struggling against these heroes because it's having its stats reduced so much. I think as long as Prince doesn't make the mistake of trying to, you know, pull his heroes out of there and take unnecessary damage while he's moving around, this hero squad will be able to kill quite a bit. You know, it's almost like these co-op fight games where you have like a bunch of heroes fighting something together. Hey, the purple skulls. Soul Stealer came in. It's hitting the P8 guard again. Morathi is quite happy about that. Brindle comes in and smacks her with his axe and she falls over. And Brindle just launched the Master in the air as well. And then he's out of there. And that attack didn't look like it hit. And now Morathi took a I think that was a goblin. They actually shot a goblin into her. He just keeps falling over. But Grombrindle did take some more hits there. Looks like the Death Hag is chasing him down. Death by Snoo Snoo it shall be. Grombrindle has no fear, but right now he does fear this evil pale lady that's coming to shank him. He's getting out of there. Another hit. Did that kill him? Yes, she did it. But because he chased, the hero squad is now spread out, and it's just Morathi and the Master left. The Death Hag is racing back, because if she's there, she drops those stats by an additional 5, which is significant. Also, she has poison, so yeah, that's 2 debuffs that can really help in that fight. Morathi, she's a decent fighter, but she doesn't have most splash attacks. Fights like this, she tends to suffer a little bit. And she actually got another Soul Stealer. I'm surprised she didn't put it here. She catches 2 units, a unit of Rangers and some blasting charges. It's not too bad. She's going to get some highly needed hit points back, but I'm not sure if this is a fight she can win. As I said, she doesn't really have the splash attacks. We do have some Dark Riders, repeater crossbows here. Since the ranged units are dead or out of ammo, these guys, their 9 shots can still kill a lot of dwarves. Or just, you know, push them over the edge to rout. The cannons. Look at this brave cannon crew. There's 4 guys. And they're running to reach their cannons again. And like, even just a few shots would make all the difference at this point. They could rout the Dark Riders, or they could shoot Morathi or the Death Hag. These dwarves are standing strong. And it's not easy because these ladies they don't have the most mass to reunite, but yeah, it's really best if they're right next to each other. But I don't think Prince can really put them right next to each other right now. Oh, now he's going for it. Yeah, another awesome combat roll there from Morathi. Reunited with the Death Hag, but the Death Hag is routing, so she won't be giving any buffs anymore. And oh man, it looks like dwarves are surviving through sheer stubbornness. Cannon has also come back. Imagine if this cannon gets like a point-blank shot in Morathi. How sick would that be? Oh no, they're just rushing into melee. And another combat roll. She's going to rout the cannon crew. She just killed 3 dwarves with 1 strike. Blasting charges now hitting Morathi. Man, this is another crazy close fight. I don't think Morathi can kill this many dwarves. He definitely wants 8 of these Bleak Swords, but the Bleak Swords, they are going for the Thunders and to chase them off, but there's still like Gyrocopter. But there's still a Soul Stealer. Ooh, that's unexpected. I know she has a lot of Winds of Magic, but yeah. Morathi actually reaching her heal cap, not getting the full heal from that Soul Stealer, because she's already healed so much. And the Dark Riders come in to rout that unit. Any of them die here. It's gonna be painful, because they still have ammo to use. But then again, like, if they try to use their ammo, they're always being attacked by the Gyrocopters, so Morathi's trying to get rid of the Gyrocopters for them. And is she actually pulling ahead? Is she doing this? Oh my god. What a game. Right now the balance of power is once again in favor of the Dark Elves, but Morathi, she needs the help of these Bleak Swords quickly. Oh, she's actually up against that tree, that helps. Makes her less no, it makes it not as easy to surround her for these dwarves. But still, there's so many dwarves. I don't know if she can win this fight. Maybe she needs another Soul Stealer. But I don't think she's getting one. I'd be very surprised. She's already at her heal cap. That means she's used like 4 already. And she has 90 winds of magic, but no, it looks like she's routing. Oh no, Marathi. These dwarves stopped the Bleak Swords from reuniting with her. Looks like Marathi is going to die, or at least rout, and with that, Prince is out. Marathi against the whole Karak, yeah. Throwing away his win condition in the Scourge Runners. Maybe he was a little bit too aggressive with them. It's possible. It looked so good when he killed Grombrindle, but by that point he had barely any forces left. Alright, we're loading in. Shifting Isles. Not a very large map. Of defensive terrain, defensible terrain on both sides. 4 gyrocopters. 2 miners with blasting charges. 2 cannons. Gotrek and Grombrindle. Dwarf warriors. 4 longbeards and another dwarf warrior. For El Halcon, we have red crested skinks, Saurus warriors with shields, crested skinks, and more Saurus warriors with shields. Then we have the Croxigors, 2 of them. The Pahawk's Sentinels. Now these guys, they have physical resistance, so a little bit of defense against fire that's coming their way. They can cause fear, they have missile resistance, they have drop rocks. They can be kind of annoying. And they're only 800, so not a bad pick, in my opinion. Two Feral Stegodons. Let's look at these beautiful beasts. Don't they look awesome? Look at the detail. Look at the detail. It's breathtaking. And I think A-Move and El Halcon are practice partners. There's a red-crested Skink Chief here. A Lord that I actually think is pretty good. He's cheap, he's fast, he's small. He has Frenzy, so he has decent stats and damage. He has Anti-Large, he has that Pendant. He has very low health. But I still think that you get a decent amount for what you're paying. Yeah, Harmonic Convergence and Wind Blast. I just remember it because he played it during the ECL, I get it. So Wonka is firing away with his cannons. Once again going for the artillery play. I think it's definitely the good choice here. The Hawk Sentinels are coming out. Challenge these gyrocopters, but the gyrocopters, if they're fast enough, they could potentially snipe a couple of them out of the air. Are they going for it? Well, they're definitely shooting, but it seemed their shots didn't really connect very well. Now, one is flying away while the other turns to shoot. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, this gyrocopter, a little bit of trouble. It's just one Pahawk Sentinel and there's nothing else that can kill the gyrocopter, so really the gyrocopter should be able to get a big advantage here. If you just keep flying away with the gyrocopter that's under attack, well, you gotta fly away with it, of course. Although it says this unit is winning decisively, but of course the game sometimes lies. But it seems this gyrocopter doesn't have trouble in melee here, although it does look like it's the better trade. Yeah, once they get rid of that, Wind Blast comes in on the Longbeards, some good damage there. Some bombs are already being dropped. Yeah, these gyrocopters, they have almost free reign, guys. So far, it doesn't look good for the Lizardmen. I mean, it can't look good when you're moving in while getting shot by cannons. It always looks like that against a defensive faction with artillery, but still, I feel like they're losing more than you would usually want or expect in such a situation. So right here, some nice dodges on the thrown blasting charges, and now the hammer will fall. You know, it sometimes looks like this, where the dwarves are doing a lot of damage, but then they kind of get overwhelmed and the battle turns. Remember, there's no slayers here. It's going to have to be the gyrocopters doing all the work, and this gyrocopter took a lot of damage, but it is stabilizing. Hawk Sentinels did buy a lot of time and soak a lot of ammo. I'd say they did their value, even though they're getting killed now. Red-Crested Skinks got a massive minor blasting charge throw on them. But there's no real crowd control here, so these things can just kind of stomp through. Probably reach the cannons quite quickly. While the Proxygores, they are smashing away. But this Feral Stegodon, ooh, it got hit in the back by Grombrindle, and look at him just chunking this thing down. Oh my god. Dwarf heroes tend to be difficult to kill, and dwarves are really pulling ahead here now. Sending in the Longbeards, pulling back the blasting charges, attacking the Red-Crested Skinks. Cannons are taking damage. The Longbeards are now charging in, trying to save those cannons. They might actually survive here. Blasting charges also being thrown to help those cannons, but this crew wants to get out of here. They definitely want to get out of here. Doesn't look like they will, though. But it doesn't look like they have to, because the gyrocopters are just firing away and killing everything at their own leisure. And, you know, with this much stuff in the air and artillery, you would think the infantry fights should be the Lizardmen's to take, but even the infantry fights didn't go that well thanks to the good use of the blasting charges. Yeah, this looks very tough for the Lizardmen right now. Although the gyrocopters are almost out of ammo, maybe that could be a slight turning point. That wind blast is going to miss, he can't have that. He will take another cannon offline though. Proxygores and the Skink Chief looking rather strong right now. Only Convergence comes in, but so does the Flash Bomb. This Red-Crested Skink Chief. It's going to have an encounter of the third kind. Just look at Grombrindle running from one Proxygore to the next. He's recovered from his altercation with the Death Hag. And is now slaying away once again. What is Godtrek doing? Where is he? He was on the field, right? I'm not going crazy. Could have sworn I saw him. Did he die? Or am I simply imagining things and there was no Godtrek? Oh no, here he is. Sneaky dwarf. He looked to be going for that Skink Chief, but Skinks all look kinda alike, so now he slaps this one down. Yeah, the cannons do end up getting taken down. The Lizardmen still have a strong infantry presence, actually. Gyrocopters, they're still firing away, killing off the large threats. Yeah, well, Hawkin's really doing what he can at this point. Where's the damage? How are you gonna kill Grombrindle? How are you gonna kill Godtrek? I don't think you can. Huh. Like the random flying skinks in the background. Dope hat. With the win. Pretty strong. Wait, your prediction was 3-0? Really, Prince? I mean, I know you hold the guy in high esteem, Kind of have to because, you know, what happened, but I don't think it's gonna be a 3-0. Like, Dope Hat could definitely win, especially with this strong first performance. So, Greenskin Mirror, guys. It's probably going to be quick and violent. So, you know, Greenskins could potentially skirmish other Greenskins. Or even set up on one of these hills. But really, knowing the Greenskin roster, what I would expect it to devolve into is some sort of blob fight, really. Okay, so we have Goblin Wolfrider Archers, or Dope Hat. We have Trolls, 1 unit. They're all moving back. We have Grimgore Ironhide. If this doesn't make you guys spam some sporks, then I don't know what will. You're next. Giant Troll River Hag, just a Spirit Leech, Overwhelming Odor, and Regen. In terms of cavalry, we have Savage Orc Boar Boys. Amazing. Let's look at these guys. The Ragnarok Queen is here together with the Snotling Bump Wagons with the Flap Ass. Okay. Very nice. Isn't this the craziest looking unit in the game? I just adore it, even though I don't know if it's very effective, but I guess we're about to see. Okay. So we have a skirmish contingent for El Halkin as well. 3 of them. And he has Scarsnick. Okay. Scarsnick is accompanied by Bob. Bob is bringing the immunity to psychology buff for everyone. And this Troll Hag has a bigger loadout. It's actually bringing Assault of Stone, Mither, Blast, Spirit Leech, and Aspect of the Dread Knight. So Troll Hag on both sides, but this Troll Hag is way more kitted out. We have the Spider Riders, 2 of them. We have a bunch of Stone Trolls. So this is more the army that I was expecting to see, like Stone Troll. I don't want to say blob, but like compact army. Let's say let's call it that. Some goblins on the flank and some Savage Orc Biggins, which Alhalkin used very well against Norska earlier today. Here comes the 2-0. You favor the blue greenskin army?
Oh, teas and biscuits! Who are you, sir?
Excaraga, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Yeah, the deployment actually favors Alhalkin right now because his Spider Riders are instantly catching 2 of the Goblin Wolf Riders, and it seems this is just going to be minus 700 gold. And Dope Hat is committing some troops to this fight. Alhalkin with just very clean mechanics. Micro, as Amove was mentioning earlier, just seeing what's going on, pulling his troops back on time. Very clean play. Does look like the blue army from Dope Hat is getting a little bit of a terrain advantage here, but no, the trolls are sent forward to scale the hill and they managed to get it. And it didn't look like the blue units properly charged them back. Dope Hat may be busy microing his cavalry. One of the Wolf Riders did leave the battlefield, the other one is rallying. And I kind of wonder why he's being so aggressive when he has this many archers. Okay, so the Ragnarok Queen fighting here, she probably would have routed these stone trolls off already if it wasn't for Bob. And the Ragnarok Queen, she's punting Bob away, throwing him out there, and now those stone trolls did actually break. So she does take a lot of damage from Scarsnick, but Grimgore is coming in, and I believe he beats Scarsnick. The spiky rollers trying to do what they can, just bouncing around. Actually, they're flap ass, not spiky rollers. Oh, and they're actually going in the back of these savage ones and routing them, so that's looking pretty nasty here. Just throwing stuff around. I wonder how greenskins know like who's on which side when they're brawling amongst each other. I think in the lore they would probably just all start killing each other and forget which side they're on. Or just have a good crump in. So the trolls are being routed. The spider took a lot of damage, but she is still standing strong. But on this side, wolf riders are in combat. They probably want to pull back. Spider riders, they are chasing the goblin wolf riders. And the Arachnor Queen and these boar boys, they're making sure these trolls don't return. Oh man. This is looking bad. These trolls also not doing too well against the other trolls. Both sides almost routing now. Oh, did that stabilize them? No, the aspect of the Dread Knight came in just a little bit too late to stop that rout. It's so painful to see. And the Arachnor Queen, she's still fighting. Grimgore is still going after that troll hag. He wants the fish. So give me that fish. Okay, that was funny. Don't know if you guys heard that, but she said no just as I said give me that fish. But she is getting killed now. She won't be saying much more. Grimgore is going to chop her. Claim the fish for himself. Yeah, the spider is still standing strong. The flappas are coming in. Going into Skarsnik. He stood strong against that Bob. Going to do some damage against the Arachnor Queen, who's now down to 14 melee defense. But is it enough? Oh, well, Halkin calls for the GG. Not going to fight until the last greenskin. And to be fair, it is kind of over. He had a good start, that Vanguard deployment, but... yeah, just... the pump wagons breaking up his lines, flanking his units. And the Arachnor Queen routing the trolls. Once again, troll leadership being the bane here. I'm almost starting to feel like if you want the trolls, you gotta bring Azag for more leadership. But it's easy to say. Yeah, that is the 2-0. We've seen reverse sweeps before. Actually, we haven't. Or did we? Has there been a reverse sweep? I don't think we have seen a reverse sweep. We saw once the Undertaker almost doing a reverse sweep. Will it really be a 3-0, guys, after El Halkin played so strong in the games we casted? I would find that difficult to believe. Look at this map, it's awesome. Just look at it. I would almost use this as my screensaver. Perfect. This looks good. Damn it, it moved. I knew it was gonna do that. I'll do that some other time. Okay. The Empire. We have 4 archers and silver bullets. We have infantry, but pretty cheap infantry. Just spearmen. 2 of them are ranked up. They have shields. There's swordsmen as well. Sigmar's sons. Regular swordsman. Does he have his own burning head? He does. He's like, I'm gonna give these guys a piece. Their own medicine. He has the blast, he has the burning head, he has the flaming sword of ruin, and he has the fireball. And once again, a huntsman general. On foot. Crazy. I mean, it worked out last time. He did lose him pretty quickly though, but it ended up mattering little. So here we have Knights of the Blazing Sun going to synergize well with that Kindle Flame. And the Royal Altar of Griffith is kind of a necessity in this matchup, really. The only thing that can hold and potentially kill a mammoth. Tries to break through your lines. Mist Stalkers deployed up front. Beast of Tashnar deployed on the flank. I see some Marauder Hunters with javelins. Only 2 Berserkers. Okay. Icehorn Marauders. Regular Marauders, 2 of them. And 3 Skin Wolves, guys. They might not like fire damage that's possibly coming their way. Yeah, 3 Marauder Hunter Javelins is quite a interesting pick. And no Mammoth at all, but we have Wulfric on his chariot. The Hunter of Champions and the Sea Fang. Now where is Caster? Oh, he's here. Shaman Sorcerer of Metal. We don't know what kind of metal. Power metal, trash metal. Doom metal. But metal regardless. He has the Plague of Rust and the Glittering Robe. Going to buff some Berserkers probably with a lot of armor. Going to decrease enemy armor, which makes it easier for the Berserkers or whatever really to cut through it. So this is an Empire army that's actually going to try to hold the front line and win the front line. Burning Heads and Archers. And because there's 3 Marauder Hunters with Javelins, there's no Warhounds apart from the Beast of Tashnar that you would expect to see running into your Huntsman. What is he doing? Ah, he's getting up here. Ah, really? Oh, I didn't know you could do that on this map. I mean, I guess you can do that on this map. Damn. Like these little plateaus that you can go stand on. Never realized. Well, that might help. Oh. Okay, so he is going onto that terrain, but he also has to attack. You know, if he had like artillery or, you know, something that could shoot, then he could go up there and try and hold it. Oh, that fireball though. Okay, so he still has a decent position here though. Because at the very least, the opponent can't come from behind. Sending out the cavalry. Just now going back. Looks like a Sea Fang that's not getting dodged. 2 units are getting wiped out there. Ooh, that's a lot of... That's really bad. Even though it's just infantry units. So the archers do have a good position, but these infantry units that are meant to protect them will just get destroyed instantly. Cavalry is charging out. Yeah, I think that Sea Fang. This Burning Head is going to miss. Just created the opening that El Halkin needs to get to these ranged units. He's going to kill the archers. They are quite disposable, but at the same time, it's like an entire flank of units dying without it doing anything. It's not particularly good. These Icehorn Marauders are charging in. There's nothing to stop Wulfric here. Meanwhile, on the flanks, Miststalkers are fighting Spearmen. Technically, you know, it's anti-large, but they don't have the armor piercing or the stats to really deal with these guys, especially not if they're saturated in Marauders. So Marauders fighting quite well here. Knights of the Blazing Sun got killed almost for free. Ulfric is just going through the backline, and this is looking grim for the Empire. Really grim. They have no mass to stop anything. And now the backlines are wide open because the cavalry got killed. They are, however, also killing the Marauder Hunters in the back themselves, but I'm not sure if it's enough. Actually, not if their general dies. Gunners are trying to do something to Wulfric here. Another Sea Fang. Where is it? Oh, the blast comes in, but the blast does nothing to Wulfric. He just shrugged it off. Yep. And the Empire is falling apart. They just got hit on the flank, had some units on the edges that weren't doing much or got caught out of position. And they couldn't rely on that range damage to make all the difference. This fight is going the way of the Norskins. Kind of as expected. I don't expect to see Empire beating Norska much. Yeah, this is over. If only he had some units so we can actually hold this position. Not even like Stape can fix that. Okay, so El Halkin working on the comeback. Against like really good dwarf player, it's super. Sometimes it actually plays into your hand for someone he feels a little bit too comfortable about the matchup and then doesn't play that well. Or they never play the matchup because, you know, no one lets them play the matchup, so they're not as good at it as they should be.
I'm gonna predict the Fae and lots of Knights Errant. And Hero Blob. We'll see. That's correct. And some Peasant Bowmen. I think that's a safe prediction.
Yeah, I think you need some ranged. Like, whichever faction you are, you need some ranged against Skaven, because if you don't have ranged, they can just blob, and they have like almost a Mortis Engine blob, those Plague Bells.
Yeah.
It's just very difficult to deal with.
Oh, loading in on Waldenhof.
Oh yeah, it's the second to last game. Or the last game, if you know.
It's the last game.
It is the last game, okay. Okay guys, you can leave. Prince spoiled it. This is actually a replay
predict the
cast.
future.
Except for that last game, but that doesn't count.
That doesn't count, yeah. Somebody paid Billpad to lose.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the fatigue is getting to him a little bit, because it seemed to me like that first Sea Fang was something he should have been able to dodge, and I think if he dodges that, he's fine.
Yeah, because he just lost that entire flank and it was compromised. His range got compromised really quickly.
And then it compromised the entire backline as well. There were some other things going wrong there as well, but hey, let's focus on this battle. I'll go over the Skaven army. We have Skaven slaves. Actually, I already regret saying I'm going to go over the Skaven army. It's always such a mess.
Yes.
So, Poisoned Wind Mortars, 2 of them, a Hellpit Abomination, 2 Plague Monks, 1 Ixis Triad, Dwarf Thing Menace Doomflayers, Clan Rats with Spears, 4 in total, Shields, Skaven Slaves, 4 in total, a Warlock Engineer, let's look at his stats. Yes. The Warpstone Armor, good for blobbing, and the Howling Warp Gale, good against flying units. And Lord Skrulk. Still the number 1 pick in most matchups. Library Bobonicus, Rod of Corruption, Stand Your Ground, Pestilent Birth, Vermintide, Pestilent Breath, Aura of Pestilence, lots of Pestilence, and the Plague Rash. It also has Frenzy, did you know that?
Ooh, okay.
And magic damage, and Contaminated, so if he hits something it loses 10 leadership. So yeah, pretty good Lord Skrulk. So what are the Bretonians bringing against this?
For Bretonia, we have 4 peasant bowmen. I believe 2 of them are the poison kind. Actually, maybe 3 even. Yeah, I think 3 are poison arrows. Once up front, we have a front line of 3 battle pilgrims and then 4 spearmen at arms with shields supporting them. Looks like they're all rank 1 or 2, depending. Just battle pilgrims for the killing power there, and they're really fast, and the spears for the anti-large. So I like how he's he's setting up his front line, leaving a bit of space, of course, as well, just in case. And also we have the Fey Enchantress on the field as expected, however, not with the hero blob. It's just the Fey herself here on a horse with Earthblood, Life Bloom, Arcane Conduit, and the Blessing of the Lady. So that's what we got on her. Now the cap contingent, we have 3 Knights Errant. I believe one of them is... No, is that 4 Knights Errant? No, 3 Knights Errant indeed. One of them is the Defender of the Fleur de Lis. We also have 4 Knights of the Realm. One of them is the ROR unit, the Knights of the Lion Hearted. And I think I didn't miss anything. And looks like the game has indeed started.
Yep. So, Dope Hat once again making good use of the terrain here. We might think, what the hell is this map? One side has high ground and this terrain. Well, on the other side you have some water which you can use similarly. So it's not a symmetrical map, but I do think it's balanced in a way. The Skaven are definitely happy to be on this side, I think, because the mortars will be able to shoot over this little skull mountain here. It will break up the Bretonian advance a little bit.
Yeah, you can see that Bretonians are already splitting up their army into 2. Interesting decision here. It's like the Fey is deciding to go on the right flank, so maybe that's where we'll see the biggest push come in, because I think that's also where we have most of the Knights of the Realm and where we have the Knights of the Lionhearted. Poison Wind Mortars hitting the Battle Pilgrims, so they're going to be taking some damage here.
Yep, good shot there from the Poison Wind Mortars, who are now doubling back so that the Fey doesn't get onto them. And yeah, it's actually rare to see the Skaven... Oh no, they're not outnumbered, but it feels like they're outnumbered for some reason.
Yeah, because of the way Bretonians are spreading out, I guess. Feels like, just spreading out, actually, it's kind of like a force multiplier in a way, I guess. It looks like it. It just looks scary and intimidating when your opponent is spreading out and starting to surround you. And it doesn't necessarily work as well in this game. I mean, depending on the matchup. It's not like in Shogun 2 where it's kind of always beneficial to surround someone, but here, oh, that hit on the Knights Errant with the Poison Wind Mortars actually slowed them down a little bit. And they're getting a charge off into the Skaven Slaves, but we have Clan Rat summoned behind them. So I wonder if the Knights Errant will get stuck here. Nope.
Oh, the micro once again on point. And I just wonder, how are the Skaven going to stop 6 cavalry? Knights of the Lionhearted are still in the back. I don't know if that's Russian cavalry or whether that's a tactical reserve, but...
I mean, right now actually the mortars are hitting the cav really well, so I'm not sure if like killing the the cheap infantry is worth it right now. It's, yeah, you'll kill the cheap infantry, but if your knights are taking
the archers,
a lot of damage, yeah.
2 units of archers just got shot, and poison damage they're taking, or the next volley is probably enough to push them over the edge. The cav currently not yet doing the disruption that we would expect, but I think at some point they're definitely going to get onto these Poison Wind Mortars.
Yes. One other thing though is, yeah, Bretonia brought a lot of cav, but It's also really difficult to micro when you have like what 7-8 cav. That's how much he brought, and you can see it because one of his knights errant, the defender of the floater, he actually got rear charged by Clanneret spears. He did get away from there, but you know that means he did lose some HP. On the other side, we do have Knights of the Realm and Pal Pilgrims fighting out against the Warlock Engineer, but Poisonwind Mortars are really hitting those Peasant Bowmen as well. They could have shot the big blob from the Bretonnians. That was a big blob, but now it's no longer as big of a blob. But looks like this is kind of a Sooth-like move, right? Like you just go through with, you know, just fully concentrate your forces onto one unit and then keep pushing on to the next. But
Yep,
not sure if that'll work. Yeah.
A lot of the Skaven units were distracted chasing cavalry they couldn't even catch, so could be bad for them. The Helped Abomination, I mean, I want to say it's caught, but at the same time, that's a fight it doesn't mind, so kind of hard to say it got caught. But yeah, the Skaven do seem pretty spread out and sort of being mopped up by the cavalry, as I expected. Mortars also appear to be offline by now.
Yes, but the cav of the Bretonnians is really tattered for the most part. There's some units that look kind of healthy, so I think they are losing a lot of steam when it comes to the actual battle. I'm not really sure if Bretonnians can still pull it off, but we will see. I mean, if he keeps the rest of his cav alive and uses it wisely, it might still be possible. We'll see.
And look at this Warlock Engineer, he's doing such a good job draining 3 units at a time by being in this battle. You can see the effect on them, just slowly draining their health. Yeah, it's only infantry, but if you win this side infantry engagement, it opens up a lot of space, and you know, those Peasant Bowmen might get routed. Okay, one of them just got a rank 9 promotion. I guess that this bug still exists. Thank you,
wow.
beta patch.
Yeah. Poison arrows, yeah.
Yeah, these guys are quite a bit more effective now.
They're gonna do a lot of damage to that Help It. I guess that's what they're targeting right now.
Yeah, the Skaven earlier on in the battle were really targeting down those archers because they know that the archers are the thing that could take down the Help It. But enough archers survived to still kill it. It's pretty low right now. Looks like the Skaven are trying to regroup to help it. Their other important units are kind of leaving the rest to die.
Trying to save the mortars, but it's not like... Ooh, actually the mortars might come back because they're not fully chased. We will see if the mortars come back, that would be funny.
Rally? I don't think they'll rally.
They did!
They rallied. I jinxed it. Oh, Caster's Curse. You say something and the opposite instantly happens. It's always the case. But anyway, that's going to keep the battle more exciting, I think, because even a couple shots from these guys could do some damage to the archers. And, you know, Scroll always has an army in his back pocket, so...
Warlock Engineer.
Still in this. Is he
Warlock
getting killed?
Engineer's down. Yeah,
he's
he
down.
got surrounded. He's gonna go down for sure.
He's still draining though, even though he's routing. It's value right there.
It's a massive balance of power shift because it was just moments ago it was in favor of the Skaven, but now it's a little bit different. But oh, Knights of the Lionheart that actually got caught and they're not really being pulled out of there. This is the issue with having so much cavalry.
Yeah,
it's really difficult to micro it all properly.
Is
You
coming
have to
in.
be super
Jump and smash.
Yes, they're gonna go down there. I don't think they can escape anymore. They're too few.
The Skaven mortars are like, oh, you have rank 9 archers? Let me do something about that. But that's going to be the last they wrote, I think. It's the cavalry and the Fae is coming in, and I don't see a rescue being possible for these poisoned wind mortars at this point.
Yeah, Defenders of the Flood really are now engaged. I wonder if they will end up dying. If they pull out, they should be fine. Looks like they are being microed right now, but they're wavering. Maybe they'll rout. Unlikely. They did actually rout. Okay. So, there you go. Still some Eshin Triads on the fields. It's gonna be pretty annoying to deal with for Bretonnians, but there is a Lord-on-Lord engagement happening.
Yeah, Skrolk actually somewhat exposed. I was gonna say, oh, he'll probably get killed here, but because he has these Dwarf Thing Menace Doomflayers with him, he's a little bit safer, and he popped a Rod of Corruption. There's also an Earthblood to counteract that. But I think Skrolk is going to need some help from this help pit eventually. Oh, never mind. He just summoned more. He actually summoned Plague Monks. Okay,
Plague
that's
Monks,
a big
ooh.
help. You see how much
Yes.
the leadership is dropping from Skrolk hitting stuff, right? So looks a bit dicey for Bretonia. This is where you really want to have some archers online. It's so hard to keep them alive.
They could still come back, but they are being chased by Skaven slaves. So, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't
They
think
might
the
come in too
archers are
late.
going to do much in this battle.
Yeah.
There's still
Yeah.
a decent amount of models on them, but they have so little points between them.
Ooh, here comes a nice engagement from Bretonia, you know, surrounding the Helpit and those Plague Monks, but I wonder if he's gonna take that engagement because the Helpit might still be able to do it.
Yeah, I think at this point it's one of those battles where it just comes down to, is the Helpit really too horrible to die, or is it just gonna die? Because I think if it is too horrible to die, like, it's just gonna kill whatever is left.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't die, I mean, if it does die, then Tonia still has a good chance.
Ooh,
Oh, it's
it
too horrible
healed.
to die.
Yeah, it's too horrible.
It's too horrible to die. Faye is going to hit it now. She's going to get hit in return. And she's definitely not too horrible to die, so
Ooh.
I just died.
Chariots, Doomflayers got into the Bretonian camp. I guess they are chariots.
Yeah, you'd actually be
Wait.
surprised how good those things are against cavalry. Noticed that when I charged the unit of Empire Knights into them. I was like, this'll work. I was like, where are my Empire Knights? I think it's the high armor and the high melee defense that does it.
Still so close in the balance of power, but for Bretonia, a lot of their stuff is on the other side, like way back.
If they can rally the archers somehow, then they could maybe kill the Helpit. And I think if they kill the Helpit, they can do it, because then the Fae can kind of drain whatever is left just by being in melee with the peasants. But if the Helpit is alive, then Helpit is just going to punch the Fae when she enters combat, and it's not going to work out for them.
Yeah. This is a really close game.
Yeah.
And Helpit is healing right now. So
I gotta say, I was a little bit disappointed with the turnout, that so many people didn't end up checking in, but the quality of the games is more than made up for that.
yes. Yeah. And you know, on the bright side, I made the semis.
Yeah, you did well.
So many,
Sure.
you know, didn't have that many people. But
Mhm.
anyway, back to this game. So Faye is being chased by all the Skaven units. There's
Yeah.
literally...
And she's going to try and stabilize those peasant archers. So Bretonia could still do it if they get the necessary range damage in.
Yeah,
Proper surround with some good cavalry charges, they could do it. But the clock is ticking for them, because I think Skrolk is getting more Winds of Magic for more summons. He will have Rod of Corruption ready.
Yeah.
And the Helpit is also regenerating, of course.
Yes. There we go.
Why is he splitting up?
Yeah, the fire arrows are gonna do some work here onto the Helpit especially, I think. But, you know, I actually didn't see them. I thought they were poison arrows. That was my bad. It makes sense to bring them. So.
Oh, is he baiting the Fae? The clan rats, they come in. The dwarf thing menace charges in after them. And the Fae is taking a lot of damage. Oh my god. Such a big punch to the face.
Yeah.
Help it. And now the Rod of Corruption as well. Oh no, is this it? Is this it?
Start down. There's still peasants firing, shooting the Helpit.
Yeah, the Helpit might
they'll do
actually die now.
Yeah, it's not too horrible to die anymore.
Maybe, like, it could still get another damage burst. I mean, healing burst. Oh, and look at this. That was so beautifully aimed. Getting rid of
Shattered.
that last archer.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Nice
I think...
shatter.
Does the Helpit go down? No, it got another healing. Oh.
It happened again.
I mean, you always feel bad with this unit, right? You either feel bad for the guy that didn't manage to kill it, or you feel bad for the guy that lost his Helpit without getting any healing. It's such a sad unit in that way.
Yeah. It's like phoenixes for the high elves. You know, that's why I don't bring them.
No, it's
Because,
bad to rely on RNG, because,
Yes.
like, let's say the chances are 50%. Do you want to lose 50% of your battles because of that? It's never going to be exactly 50%, of course, but...
Imagine that didn't happen though. That would have changed this battle. So, yeah.
Yeah,
It
actually,
literally.
yeah, the
Yeah.
first time for sure. The second time, I don't know. Like at
Yeah,
that point,
yeah.
they were already ahead, so
Yes.
might have been fine even if it died. But it looks like Dope Hat is going to smash the Fae here and eliminate El Halkin. 3-1.
Yeah.
Russian's
Nice.
prediction came true first try.
Well, the second prediction.
Shh. It's people tuning in just now. They don't know anything.
Yes.